My name is Tracey Lewis, and I'm an employment attorney with Lee's Law Firm. Now, today I want to talk about race discrimination in the workplace, what to do about it, and what legal rights you may have if it happens to you. Unfortunately, we still live in a time where race discrimination is prevalent in a work environment, whether it's comments, negative comments being made about your race, or differential treatment between one race and another, a failure to promote a certain race despite their qualifications. There's many different ways that race discrimination can occur in the workplace. So I want to talk about that today from an employment law perspective, and if that's happening to you, what legal rights you may have. So just a little background before we hop into it. Title VII is the Civil Rights Act of 1964 that protects employees against discrimination in the workplace based on race. Now, many states have their own state laws that mirror Title VII that also prohibit race discrimination in the workplace. In Texas, it's the Texas Labor Code. I can tell you Georgia also has an Anti-Discrimination Act specifically related to race discrimination in the workplace, and many other states do as well. So you do have rights. You do not have to suffer in silence, and if somebody is discriminating against you based on your race in the workplace, you want to make sure that you report that. The reality is, although the laws are there and they're written, discrimination still happens. So if race discrimination is happening to you in the workplace, what should you do? I cannot stress enough, report. Push your report in writing. I know when these situations, it's very difficult, not only what you're going through, going to work and being discriminated against based on your race, but also the fear of reporting it and facing retaliation because of it. So let's say your manager is the one responsible for the race discrimination. You need to go above that manager and go to human resources. Make sure you check your employee handbook to see if there's a specific policy on reporting discrimination. I can tell you most of the larger companies usually do have specific guidelines written in their employee handbook or employee policy and procedure manual that will tell you what to do if you're facing race discrimination in the workplace. Now, making a verbal complaint is good. Sometimes, as we work for companies for years and years, we have relationships with management, we have relationships with human resources, and, we schedule a meeting and we go discuss our concerns. And that the same can be done in a race discrimination scenario where you face race discrimination at work and you want to set up a meeting to discuss what you've been going through. But I stress, as an employment lawyer and seeing how these cases unfold in litigation, after that meeting, you still want to follow up in writing and actually put in an email that you save a copy for yourself, that you are thankful for the opportunity to discuss your concerns, but you just want to reiterate that you are making a complaint again about race discrimination. Now, you don't have to say, the law doesn't require you to say specific words, right? You can say, I feel like I'm being treated differently because I'm Black. I feel like I'm being treated differently because I'm Hispanic. You can just say that. That's enough. But if you are watching this video, take this advice. Although I'm not your lawyer and I can't give you legal advice, based on the law and what I've seen, it's very important to say, I'm facing race discrimination. I'm seeking help. This manager is discriminating against me because of my race. I've noticed as a Black employee, I'm being treated differently than Caucasian employees in my same department. Those specifics are very important because the employer has to be on notice in order to be obligated under the law to take some action to try and protect you. If an employer doesn't know, they can't do anything about it. So I've had situations where I've talked to potential clients and they've said, well, I didn't want to say race discrimination, so I just said, I think my manager doesn't like me. As I know underlying that, as I talk to these clients or potential clients, they may be saying, I said that, but what was really going on was race discrimination. But the problem there is your employer could say, well, we didn't know. She just said that her manager was being mean to her or didn't like her. That's not enough to trigger the laws under Title VII or under any type of anti-discrimination. So you want to make sure you say race discrimination, being treated differently based on my race, something to that effect, so that you get the protections of the law that you might need in the future. So let's say you make that formal complaint. The employer says, oh, we did an investigation. We couldn't substantiate any of the claims that you made, so we're closing the case. Unfortunately, that's what happens a lot of the time. The employer will do their due diligence and say they've done an investigation, which sometimes consists of an interview of you, an interview of the person you're complaining about, maybe an interview of other people that you work with that you say may have seen the discrimination or know about it, and then that's it. Now, what could happen in the future, unfortunately, is if an employer terminates your employment within 3 months or less of you making that type of complaint, you could have a case for retaliation, which is why I say it's very important to put those types of complaints in writing, because then if you do need to hire an employment attorney to fight for your rights after you face a wrongful termination, there is going to be no dispute about the employer being on notice about the race discrimination before you were terminated. So putting that complaint in writing is really, really important.